Today I'm in the small town of Jay, Florida, and I'm here to visit the gravesite of Lawrence Hankins Locklin, better known in the country music world as just Hank Locklin. So we're going to be headed to United Methodist Church, Mount Carmel Cemetery to see the gravesite. And when doing my research before we came here, it looks like that his grave is going to be marked by a granite border all the way around it and covered with gravel on the top. So hopefully it won't be very hard to find. And it being in a church cemetery, we're hoping it's not going to be a large cemetery either. We've arrived at the church parking lot. Now we're going to go and head into the cemetery to see if we can find Hank's gravesite. As I head toward the cemetery, I'll mention a couple of things about Hank. He was born in McClellan, Florida, and it's said that his parents' names were Lawrence Clayton and Hattie Maybelle Locklin, and that he was the youngest of 4 children. And as you can see, there's a gate close to the road here, and the cemetery doesn't appear to be too awful big, so we'll head in that first gate there. And I will say I've got a little surprise for me as I got closer to seeing the cemetery. There is so many of the graves that have the granite all the way around them and the gravel on top, which I thought would be an easy find, with maybe Hank's being the only one or maybe 1 or 2 in the cemetery, but that's not the case. So let's start walking from the first gate up to see if we can find Hank Locklin's gravesite. Well, as I start looking for Hank's grave, I'm decided just to do some talking and kind of pan around and just show you what some of the markers look like, and hopefully we'll come up on Hank's grave pretty fast. As I mentioned, he was the youngest of 4 children, and it said when he was a real young child, I think something like 9 years old or so, he was hit by a school bus. And when he had that happened, while he was recovering, he would learn to play the guitar. So Hank was not only a country music singer. In a lot of his videos and things that you may watch, you will notice that he plays the guitar also. And I think if it wasn't the last, it was pretty close to the last album that he recorded was a gospel music album. So on to look to see if we can find the gravesite. I will say I appreciate that my husband has already opened the gate for me here at the cemetery, so I can just walk on through and record at the same time. And since I'm going to be seeing these markers and everything, and I'm not sure how long it'll take me to find Hank's grave, I'll just mention some more interesting things about Hank Locklin. Hank was a member of the Grand Ole Opry for 40 plus years, but with all that and being quite a regular on the Grand Ole Opry, it is said that Hank never actually lived in Nashville, so I guess maybe he would just stay a few days at a hotel or with some friends or something when he was performing on the Opry, and then head back to Florida. I decided to walk toward the road or entranceway, you might say, in the cemetery where the second gate is in the cemetery, as that way I'll be able to see 2 sides of this part of the cemetery as my husband is looking over on the other side to help me find the gravesite. Hank's first major hit song was a song that he wrote, and it was called The Same Sweet Girl. But you may remember Hank, as I do, from 2 of his most popular songs, Send Me the Pillow You Dream On, and the song that probably is his biggest hit and considered his signature song was Please Help Me, I'm Falling. Those 2 popular songs of Hank's that I just mentioned came at a time when he was signed with RCA Records, and the collaborating producer at that time was none other than Chet Atkins. Worth mentioning is none other than the great piano player for country music, Floyd Kramer, was the piano player on Hank's recording of Please Help Me, I'm Falling. Hank also had his own backup band, and they were called the Rocky Mountain Playboys. Hank had a nickname that was given to him by Ralph Emery. It was called the Mayor of McClellan, since he was from McClellan, Florida, and it said that the town itself actually made him an honorary mayor after he received this nickname, and the name seems to have stuck with him, they said, throughout the years. Well, I'm beginning to believe that this little cemetery visit today is going to take me longer than I had expected it to. And so I'll talk about a little bit of Hank's expectations. He didn't start out just as being a Grand Ole Opry star and a hit success in the country music field, as most of the country music stars do. He started out doing different things. He played on the radio some, and he was even a member of the Louisiana Hayride, which was came in out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Hank has been referred to by some as one of the country music's great tenor singers, and if you've listened to any of his songs, you know that that could very well be, as he's one of the tenors that has made history in the country music field. Oh my, to my left I am seeing beneath that bouquet of flowers that's got white and red on it, the name Locklin, and I hope that I have found the grave that I've come to look at today. Now I've just got to get close enough to read the names on the markers that are kind of laying down flat to see if I've actually found Hank Locklin's grave site or not. As I get closer, I can see from the bottom marker down there that it had Hank on it. And so I have actually found the gravesite that I was looking for. And that kind of surprises me. I had read somewhere that he wasn't able to be in the Army during World War II because of his injuries he received from that accident where he was hit by a school bus. But then that same sentence said, but he kept singing. So I don't know if that meant that he didn't participate in the war zones. It just was like a singer for the troops or whatever. But that kind of surprised me. And if you know anything about that, please list it in my comments below. As you look at the dates on Hank's marker here, it doesn't take you long to figure out that Hank lived to be 91 years old. When looking at the grave sites of country music stars, or any person for that matter, it always brings back memories for you. And of course, with looking at Hank's marker here, I think of his tenor voice being so pure and all, and his great songs that he sang. And as you can see next to him, his wife will be buried here when she passes away. As of now, it doesn't have a death date on here, so I'm assuming she still lives here in this area. I've read that Hank owned a 350-plus acre ranch in McClellan, Florida, for many years, and he called his ranch the Singing L Ranch. But the last 25 years, according to one of the items I read in the paper, said that he had lived in Brewton, Alabama, and that was his home for the last years of his life, and that's where he passed away at. As we're taking our final look around at Hank's grave in the cemetery, I must mention some of his accomplishments. He's been inducted into the Florida Artist Hall of Fame as a songwriter in 2007. And what that entails is having his name up on the wall of the rotunda part of the Capitol building in Tallahassee, Florida. He's also been inducted into the Alabama Music Hall of Fame in 2014, and he became a member of the Grand Ole Opry in 1960. And at the time of his death, he was the oldest member that the Grand Ole Opry had. I think they have one now that has lived a year longer. I think it's Stu Phillips, and I think he's 92 or something like that. If you actually come to see Hank's gravesite, take the second gate from the road, or the main road, I should say, as I took the first gate. The second one will go straight back, and on the left you'll see Hank Locklin's gravesite. As we leave the town of Jay, Florida, which is in Santa Rosa County, I'd like to say thank you so very much for watching this video. Hope you found it interesting, and have a good day.